Welcome to The Opinion, everyone, the talk show where your opinions matter. I am Mirna Santiago, and joining me today for our discussion, as always, is my co-host, Adeline Ortiz, and our guest, Christlean Alphonse, who is the Bronx chapter president for the National Association of Professional Women, and also is a telecommunications and energy solutions entrepreneur.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, our topic today is whether minorities and business ownership are mutually repellent. Mirna, what do you think?
Well, I took a look at the statistics before we got here today, and Entrepreneur magazine says that minorities actually own 15% of all businesses in the United States. But when you look down at those statistics, 99% of those businesses are small, service-oriented businesses that people start in their homes, basically. So that also includes not just the businesses that are in the home, but smaller family-owned businesses like the little Asian food places, the Chinese restaurants that are prominent in our neighborhoods. And what is indeed, although those things are indeed business ownership, I don't think they represent true business ownership when people think of it, which is basically the cottage industries of the things in our neighborhoods, like the supermarkets, the dry cleaners, even the bodegas in our neighborhoods are owned by a lot of Middle Easterners, and they just hire people in the community to sort of front it, to be there at the desk. So I would have to say that's kind of my long-winded way of answering the question, and that yes, minorities and business ownership is mutually repellent at this time.
I would have to disagree. I would have to disagree because I think that even in the examples that you gave, you know, it shows that minorities have the skills, the experience, the knowledge that it takes to start a business and to operate it. And I think what is probably missing are the resources, the awareness, and the education to grow the business, to sort of take it to the next level. Okay, I think that what minorities lack are, I think, the financing, you know, the financial component and the lines of credit that they need to actually grow their business on to the next level. But certainly to start a business requires a lot of different skills and considers a lot of different factors. And the fact that 15% of these businesses, even if they are mostly small businesses by minorities, is a big percentage, and does show that we have the capabilities to do the work. It's just a matter of moving those businesses to the next level. Christlean, what do you think?
You know, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, minority-owned businesses has increased to 60%. To 1.9 million. And you know, I've had the pleasure of meeting great dynamic entrepreneurs in my line of work. So, you know, I think that there is a definite push for minority-owned businesses.
So you think minority-owned businesses are coming to the forefront? It's just taking us a little more time.
Most definitely. Times are changing. You know, with the information of the access to information, times are definitely changing. So you have the ability to know about business and know how to start a business.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, I taught business law for several years at Lehman College and a number of other schools. And one of the things that I taught my students, which is a predominantly minority population, was how to form their own businesses. I mean, they were pretty amazed at how actually easy it is to start your own business. I mean, yes, there are several factors that have to be taken into consideration, financing, what type of business. And I think that part of the reason that a lot of minorities only own small businesses is because the quickest, easiest type of business to open is a sole proprietorship, okay? Or a limited liability company, for example. All it really takes is one individual to have an idea, have a little bit of money, and actually form this legal entity versus a partnership that requires two or more individuals in a business for profit and so on, and what have you. Now, there are a lot of different dynamics that go into business ownership, but of course, the main factor is money. And when you talk about, you know, minority business owners really not taking their businesses to the next level, I don't think that it's solely a matter of awareness. I really think that opportunity has a lot to do with the reason that you're not seeing more minority business owners in bigger businesses. For example, in 2006, the New York State Department of Economic Development commissioned a study to examine whether or not there was a disparity between qualified minority and women-owned businesses, okay, in their sort of competition for state contracts for services, commodities, and construction contracts versus the people who were winning those contracts, their white or non-minority, non-female counterparts, the people who were actually winning those contracts, and and whether or not there were changes that needed to be made. And it absolutely concluded at the end of the study that yes, there was a disparity, and that the disparity was positively and unequivocally linked to discrimination in the way that the market operates with respect to race and gender. So this being a fact, and this being a New York State commissioned study, okay, this isn't a private or individual effort. The fact that the state itself in this study concluded that there is discrimination in the way that even state contracts are issued to minority business owners, women business owners, says something. We're being locked out of opportunities to grow our company. And by locked out, I mean that there's discrimination with respect to credit limits, lines of credit, and so on. Without money, we can't grow that business. Like every other business, we need the money in order to grow that business. And if we're being locked out of opportunities...
Well, but I'd be curious to see, though, what percentage of those businesses that falls within that 15% that the statistics show are minority-owned businesses. Because if it's a small percentage, then you still have to go back to the question of why is it that in our neighborhoods, in the the minority neighborhoods, we still don't own anything. So we may be having a few construction companies, but we don't have the supermarkets, we don't have the dry cleaners, we don't have the bodegas, there's just so many pharmacies, there are so many companies and industries and things that we could tap into, and we're not doing it. So I'm not saying that there are no minority-owned businesses, I'm just saying that the numbers are so small and the impact on the economy is so minimal at this point that I have to say that it is mutually it's repelling us. It does not want us. The business in this country doesn't want us. Now, there are no minority-owned McDonald's. I'm sure there are franchises, but there's not a person who owns a McDonald's type industry that's a minority, or a Wendy's, or a Dell, or an Apple. It just isn't seen. So until we get to that level, I don't think that we're going to be able to get to the point where we're making an impact on the economy, when you are going to see that lack of discrimination, that absolute actually proof of discrimination. You're not going to see it go away until we start moving up within our neighborhoods, and then we expand from our neighborhoods somewhere else.
Well, I mean, they are barriers into gaining that type of access, but I think there is due to the way things are changing, we have an equal level playing field. I mean, with so many different programs, there's so many different areas that you can actually start a business, and there's so many different ways that minorities are actually growing businesses today. Yes, we do not own the McDonald's. Yes, we don't own the Wendy's. However, that particular franchise has opened doors for small franchises such as Lawrence Howell, Lowell Hawthorne, who owns the Golden Crust, who's the CEO of Golden Crust. He started this business in Jamaica, and now he's able to branch it off to 120 franchisees across the nation. Mm-hmm. It's not really about being able to own the Wendy's. It's about taking what has already been given and taking it to and duplicating the success.
I think that the Golden Crust example is a phenomenal one, but I also think it's the exception. I don't think that it's the general rule, and I don't think that there is a level playing field, by no means. I mean, I'm not talking about historical discrimination in the way that the state issues contracts, major contracts. I don't just mean little business contracts. A construction contract to put up an entire community, for example, to work on the new World Trade Center site, for example. to be one of those contractors, when you're being systematically locked out of those opportunities based on your race or your gender, that's today. That is the present. That's right now. I'm not talking about a historical study of 100 years ago. I'm talking about this study was done in 2006. The report was issued in 2010. This is right now within our lifetime, within our sort of field of opportunity. So if you're a minority business owner or a woman business owner and you have a construction company or you have some small company that you started that you're looking to grow and you're applying for these opportunities, you're most likely not going to get them. And and you mentioned percentages, we're talking proportionality here. So it may be 2% of minority business owners or women that applied for the contracts, okay, but it's still that 2% is not being proportionately represented within the way that the state is issuing these contracts.
But if there were more of us, then it would get harder and harder to do that, wouldn't it? Because if you have 20 people bidding for a contract, say, and half of those are minorities, it gets harder and harder to start discriminating against minorities. I think it's easier to say, well, there are 19 people and there's just one woman-owned construction company, or one black-owned or one Latino-owned construction company, then let me give it to one of the other 19 people. It's a lot easier to do that. What I'm saying is that we need to be there. We need to be at the forefront. And right now, we're not.
I think we are. I've met quite a few minority-owned women who have gotten the contracts, and not only have they gotten the contracts, they left the door open for other women to also go in there and get the contracts. You know, yes, it is a struggle. Yes, there are barriers, but I believe there's a lot of opportunities out there.
Again, they don't call the United States of America the land of opportunity for no reason.
That's right.
There is no question that this is the land of opportunity. And I have certainly, in my lifetime, in my career, academically and professionally, taken advantage of many opportunities to get to where I am. But it's not that those opportunities were made, that I was made aware of the opportunities, that anybody helped me along the way to do that. It is a matter of sheer determination on my part. To pursue certain things, to research and to learn about them, and so on. What I'm talking about is, again, proportionately. So let's say that out of 100% of contracts issued by the state, 2% are should be awarded to the 2% minorities that represent 2% of the business community. So be it. Proportionately, we're not being represented in the way that the New York State issues these contracts, and that is a problem, okay? And New York State is actually looking at ways to sort of promote more minority programs. And actually, if you go to the Small Business Administration website, sba.gov, it is a phenomenal resource for information. Now, if you're a minority or a woman or a minority woman looking to start your own business in New York State, this has to be your starting point, the Small Business Administration website, because now they have so much information there available to you to show you how to actually apply for to certify your status as a minority or woman-owned business entity. And by certifying yourself as a minority or woman-owned business entity, you actually become eligible for more of those contracts, or at least the government becomes aware of your existence, and you can start now more fundamentally competing for the opportunities that are out there. But again, if you're a minority or a woman-owned business in the state of New York and you don't know, and you're not really researching the opportunities, and you're not looking to get involved in these things and to grow your business, expand your business, then that obviously the responsibility, the obligation really falls on you to do this, because no one is going to come and knock on your door and say, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to grow your little bodega into the next chain of supermarkets across the state. Okay, but the information is out there. I mean, start by contacting us and taking a look at our website for information, but absolutely look at the Small Business Administration SBA.gov website, because there's such great information there now.
Now, I'm going to pivot a little bit, and Christlean, you can kind of jump in on this when I'm kind of done with my coming rant. Let me warn you that I'm not
that she's preparing a rant here. I'm scared.
But one of the things that I notice about us is that I don't think our vision is large enough, as minorities and as women. Again, we're doing the service-oriented things. We're doing the stuff in our house, the little resumes, reviews. Maybe I haven't started a firm, so I can't even say legal services from home because I really haven't started a business, even though this little talk show is kind of my baby. But I know you ladies you have started your business. But one of the things that I saw in Bloomberg News recently was they were kind of surmising and trying to think of reasons why minorities had been hit so hard by the recession. And one of the things they said was that so many minorities, and I can't even remember the statistic right now, but a whole bunch of minorities actually work in civil service. So if you're working for civil service and the federal government is shedding jobs like crazy, the federal government, the state, the local municipality, they're trying to save money, they're trying to balance their budget, and the best way to do that is to get rid of workers, to get rid of pensions, to get rid of those things that cost them money year after year. And we're losing out on that because we're not telling our children, go and make a business, find alternate ways of income. Instead, what we are doing is we are relying on the civil service jobs. And that rings true to me. I couldn't even argue with Bloomberg News on that because my mother was a civil servant for 20-something odd years.
Sure.
She worked for the Health and Hospitals Corporations, and when she retired, she got a pension, she got health care for life, and for her that was the best thing. She was like, you guys, you should go out and do this. So we weren't encouraged to go out and create big businesses or even small businesses. So what are your thoughts on that? Because my thinking is our vision isn't big enough. We're not looking out there to create the next Dell or the next Apple. We're happy being at home and reviewing somebody's resume for a few dollars.
Well, that I'd have to agree with. And as you know, I formed my company in part based on this vision. Latino Academic Success Consultants was formed because after several years of teaching college-level courses as an adjunct professor, I saw a gap in the way that minority students come to college prepared or unprepared to meet the challenges of a rigorous college academic course of study and to actually make it to the finish line, to actually graduate from college, and the dropout rates being as alarming as they are, I thought that this is absolutely an area of where there's a gap, where there's that need for leadership training and development of minority and specifically Hispanic students in this country, because they do need to enlarge their vision. They do need to recognize that this is the land of opportunity, that you can make things happen for you, but they don't. And part of that, again, falls on the individual themselves, but as you're a kid, middle school, high school, college, growing up, you don't know of these things. The problem is that there's an entire systematic failure, I think, all the way around. Again, if you're Hispanic or you're Spanish speaking, there's also a low expectation for you. Yeah. There's this perception that you don't know the language, that you're not going to assimilate, that you're not going to perform well, that you're not going to amount to anything. And when you talk about civil service jobs, that I agree with 100%, because even at the time I was in high school, my father was already bringing me applications for the police department, for the post office department, for every imaginable civil service. Adeline, this is the way to go.
That's right.
This is the only way to go. It is, job security and great benefits, and you'll retire with a pension. And I said, no, that's not the way for me. I'm going to college. I'm going to law school. I had a vision, but I had to actually create my own vision against the forces even in my own household that said, you're not allowed to have that vision. You're not allowed to have that plan for yourself. That is way too big for you growing up. You need to fit into what is comfortable, what works, what's guaranteed, what's safe, and that was the civil service jobs.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I had the same experience. I was taught that you go to school, you get a good education, and then get a good job. But as times have changed, those type of jobs jobs does no longer exist.
No.
I
Right.
come from a generation where the pension has been completely obliterated.
Yes,
you know, so I'm even hoping that, you know, for my children, that they'll be able to find some type of way of stability. You know, the jobs, that type of stability no longer exists. So you have to find a way to have a plan B, and plan B may need to going back to school, getting a higher education, or plan B just might be as we are business owners. So, you know, you have to be able to have a plan B and have some type of form of creating your own destiny. Because I remember back in the day, you know, yes, the post office jobs was the jobs that everyone ran to, but now they don't even want to deliver on Saturday.
No, exactly.
So,
Well, they don't
you
have
know,
the money, and
that's
and
true.
that's exactly the point. Is that these people, you know, the governments are gutting jobs. They don't want to pay people to deliver on Saturday. They want to cut hours. They want to cut resources. So. And that's where I think we're falling down on teaching our children as Latinos and as minorities, is that we need to be able to tell them, you need to be the next Steve Jobs or
Absolutely,
the next
absolutely,
person.
and not just, you know, falling down as parents, okay? Because as parents, we are, you know, the front line of teaching our children and to sort of filling them with that motivation and inspire them to plan amazing big things for them, for their lives and for themselves, and to sort of have that vision. Most parents really don't know how to motivate their children to do that, except to say, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to study something. But to actually motivate someone, to actually help them to understand that they have potential for great things, and that potential begins with this great vision, is not something that most parents can do. And again, it's a team effort, because it starts with your parents and the school system and the government and the private sector and all of the different ways that we could send that message to minorities across the United States, to let them know that you have potential and you have wonderful opportunities available to you out there. You can create anything you want to. Start with this business, grow it, become the next, you know, Bill Gates, become the next Donald Trump. That could be your name on the buildings, but it starts with that vision. It really does start with that vision and the motivation and the direction and the opportunities and so on. And it's a multifaceted effort.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. I have to move on to our lightning round discussion now, as we are out of time for our main discussion. So the lightning round topic for today is it career suicide not to network? So I'm actually going to start with Christlean.
Well, I mean, I think it is career suicide not to network. I mean, networking allows you to collaboratively meet with different individuals, share ideas with like-minded people. You know, I think that, you know, we have never gotten to where we are by ourselves, and it does sometimes take a community. It does sometimes take a family. So I think networking is very, very crucial in regards to your professional development and also furthering your career. I think it's very, very key.
Well, I have to tell you, I don't think it's career suicide at all not to network. I know a lot of successful people who don't network at all. In fact, you know, there are people who are just naturally introverted. It doesn't seem like it, I know, but I'm one of those people. And just the word networking gives me hives. So it's, you know, it's just one of those things. And I don't think I've really actually networked. I've gone to a few events maybe, but I've been a part of the New York State Bar Association for so many years and been on the executive committee for them. And I have to tell you that I think every opportunity that I've ever had, whether it was for the Bar Association or whether it was for employment, it's come to me. I've never gone out and networked. The Bar Association was someone that I already knew, and he just came to me and he said, I'd like to bring you in. My jobs that I've gotten has been just sending out resumes. I don't think I've ever networked myself into a piece of business or a job, so I don't think it's career suicide.
Actually, I do. And you say that you've never networked, but maybe you have a different perception of what it actually means to network, because you're saying that you've been involved with the Bar Association and that opportunities have come to you. Well, they've come to you because of your involvement in the Bar Association, because your mere presence,
No,
okay?
that was
because
exactly
you're so
my point.
dynamic and amazing.
Well, that's exactly my
just
point.
gravitate. No, but the point is that when you put yourself out there, in the right forums, you are going to create new opportunities for you that you would not have had if you were sitting home. And the fact that you're involved, you limit. I know you didn't expand on your involvement in the Bar Association, but I know that you've done presentations, you've done a lot of speaking engagements with the Bar Association, that you've head up committees and so on. So you are making an impression. You're making an impression on other professionals within your industry, and you have created that opportunity. And so indirectly, you are networking. I think that minorities tend to have a different perception of what it means to network. And culturally, we grow up thinking, oh, that's butt kissing, that's brown nosing, right? That's brown. Yeah. I'm not going to go out there and ask people for things or tell them how great I am. They need to see how amazing I am. They need to see how well I do my job. They need to promote me because I am hardworking, because I am intelligent. Well, yeah, that's part of the equation. You have to be intelligent. You have to be hardworking. You have to be willing. But you also have to let the right people know that you're these things. You have to put yourself in an environment where people can see that you are an intelligent and hardworking and dedicated person, that you do have the right, ethical, moral development, that you are a leader, that you are someone that they should bring in to their company, that they should present with opportunities, because that's who you are.
Now, do you teach your kids that in Latinos academic success?
Absolutely, absolutely. Networking is critical to any sort of career success. You have to put yourself out there. You have to pursue opportunities. You have to be aggressive. I remember I completed my last year of law school as a visiting student at Brooklyn Law School. And I'll never forget what the elevator conversations were like. The students would get in and, where are you clerking this summer? Well, my mom's a judge and my father's a judge here. And you're hearing all of these conversations, and well, I am going to clerk at this court because my father, the judge, made a phone call or so on. And you know what? If you grew up in that environment, then you don't need to network, because you have mom and dad to make those phone calls. You have mom and dad to go ahead and pave the way for you. But if you grew up like I did in the South Bronx, being one of the first people in my entire family's history to attend college, and certainly the first to attend professional school, well then you have to network, okay? You have to network. And so it is absolutely career suicide not to network. I really think that you're limiting yourself in every possible way when you're not putting yourself out there and letting the world know what an amazing person you are and how lucky they are to have you.
Yes. Well, take us out, Scotty.
Yeah.
Well, that is really all the time that we have for this episode of The Opinion. I hope you, the viewers out there, enjoyed our show. And we look forward to hearing from you and getting your emails. And we'll see you the next time. Please keep watching.
Thank you.